everybody. So I'm going to call our Board of Selectmen's meeting order at 7:01 p.m. First order of business is a pledge of allegiance. If you please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3 would be public comment. Would anybody have any comments this evening? Thank you all. Item number 4 is approval of minutes. In your packet you have April 1st, 2013 Board of Selectmen minutes. What would be your pleasure?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Would there be discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Just on one section here, page 3, top of the page, it says Mayor Place advised that there will be a special meeting of the Board of Finance tomorrow night to discuss the budget. I believe I was the one that asked Dan Hebert to be at this meeting. Mr. Cutler said that he would, and it said the Board of Finance asked that Dan Hebert.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they may well want to. I don't want to change this. I just like to mention the fact that I thought, and I was told he was going to be here.
Yes. Is he? Do we have Dan here this evening?
He's not here tonight.
No. We'll have him at our next meeting?
Yep.
Very good.
Thank you.
Apologize for that, John.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
All abstaining, those absent.
Very good. Thank you, Barney. Item number 5 is petitions and communications. Letter dated March 25th, 2013 from Wheelabrator regarding the discharge monitoring report, February 2013. And the report is in its entirety is available in the Mayor's office for review during normal business hours. Item B is letter dated April 4th, 2013 from Wheelabrator regarding the updated topographical map. The map is available in the Mayor's office for review during normal business hours. Item C is letter dated April 5th, 2013 from Wheelabrator regarding the follow-up to the March 28th and April 3rd probe malfunction. And again, that letter is available in its entirety at my office.
Pete, can I ask one question?
Yes, sir.
It seems like it's been an ongoing thing. I've been reading the letters. It's an ongoing thing with that high phosphorus, I think. And they've been having
pH?
Trouble, yeah, they've been having trouble with this for the last 6 months. They've been changing probes, and they supposedly change all the electronics from reading their reports. I don't think it affects it that much. We're talking about...
You're talking, parts per million.
Yeah, so, but if somebody could just check with them and find out that if this is going to be an ongoing problem, or they think with the updates that they have put in haven't fixed the problem.
Maybe what I could do, Barney, is pass it along to our town engineer,
Sure.
Mr. Griffin,
yes,
for review, and give the report at the next meeting.
Sure, appreciate that.
Thank you. Before I go any further, I apologize. I was going to ask the board if we could add something to the agenda this evening. And what it is it's a gun permit for Michael and Shayna Newman of 93 Heritage Road, Putnam, Connecticut, 06260. And unfortunately, Denise, when she was putting together our packet, forgot to include them as part of our process tonight. And they are in attendance this evening, so it would be nice to be able to take care of that. I have offered that Denise is going to complete their pistol permit, that I wouldn't sign that pistol permit until I reviewed the applications, but I'd like to be able to add it to the agenda tonight saying that they're here. Would I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Yes. I have a motion. I have a second. Dick.
Thank you.
Second was John? Barney. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Thank you. Item 6 is reports of standing committees, General Government Committee. A and 1 and 2 is codification and the MS4 draft ordinance. Alma, would you have anything further for
Nothing
us?
further right now to report. Doug is still working on the codification, and we will be having a meeting at some point when Doug says it's okay. I know we wanted to get through the budget first, so we're just waiting on that.
Thank you, Alma. Any questions for Alma? Would anybody have questions for Alma? Thank you, Alma. Item number 7 is reports of special committees. Wheelabrator Contract Review Committee update. Doug, would there be anything further to update?
Still waiting to hear from Wheelbrae.
Yep, very good. Item 8 is Economic and Community Development Report. And Delphi, I see that you're in attendance. Would you like to use the mic?
Can y'all hear me? You can? Okay. I know how to yell. Thank you. Under the Redevelopment Agency, the Community Development Block Grant for 2012, total of 27 applications have been extended to interested parties with a total of 10 completed applications received back through the Redevelopment Agency. 3 families have been confirmed as income eligible. Procedures and time guidelines for your information is income verification, home inspection, lead-based paint inspection, scope of work determination, site walk, put the project out to bid, bid opening, contractor selection, contract signed, project cost verification, and project completion sign-off. Under the 2013 application, the application has been submitted with an April 5th deadline. Request for this was for $400,000 for housing rehab. Under Economic and Community Development, Municipal Brownfield Grant, which is the Cargill Falls Mill project, all hazardous building material samples were taken. I think there was over 350 samples taken. Property developer and CME have met with the state staff archaeologist and tax credit specialist from the State Historic Preservation Office for the determination of no adverse effect was required. The group took a tour of the mill in order to review elements under consideration for removal of significant reconstruction. The consultant continues to work with the state on the flood management certification. 88 Main Street, this report has been updated since I wrote it, and all contracts have actually been signed. Permission has been granted by the Special Services District to erect scaffolding and staging area on the sidewalks and parking areas on Main Street area in front of the property, as well as on the Pomfret Street side. Safety is paramount with traffic and pedestrian concerns, and the Putnam Police are being very supportive and helpful in this area. All bonding and insurance has been in place as required by the town. Palo property, legal access to the property is being considered now that the property is in a trust. CME Associates is subcontracting with Eagle Environmental to prepare the bid specs for hazardous materials and demo. An RFQ will be drafted for the abatement clearing with keen interest in not stockpiling any storage on the southern boundary, which may be within a 100-year flood zone. We have sought clarification regarding the stream channel encroachment and floodplain issues. Based on current mapping, the site is not in the floodplain or floodway of the Quinebaug River. Under STEEP, NECOG Regional Engineers submitted the design plans and estimated budget for the Providence Street sidewalk extension. It has been determined that the Providence Street section of the sidewalk installation has to be surveyed in order for the state DOT permit. 3 quotes were acquired, and I've awarded it to the lowest bidder. Ag Viability Grant, you'll notice on your agenda this evening you do have a resolution for this grant. We received a $32,360 grant for the partnerships of the Town of Putnam, Day Kimball Healthcare Generations Family Center to implement the Fresh Fruits and Vegetable Prescription Program with the national organization Wholesome Way. Many of you may know that we have received, this will be the 3rd double value coupon grant that we have received for WIC moms and some of our senior citizens with income eligibility. The Day Kimball Healthcare Generations have both put in cash as well as Wholesome Way. The town of Putnam will be administering the grant with cash donations and in-kind services, totaling a budget of $51,560. Dakin Hospital will actually be taking young children in this area. I think it's 85 students doing BMI, and over a period of time, checking these baseline data, and this is all about childhood obesity. Industrial park updates. Activity and requests continue regarding potential lot sales. Some inquiries are being directed to J&D Civil Engineering as the original firm to subdivide maybe some of the additional lots. And most of them are for potential sales or expansions within our industrial park. There are 2 businesses for potential expansion. Park Tributes, the new business that bought Lot 5-1, has received their air quality permits, so they are starting the tree removal on their property. I had proposed zoning changes. A public hearing will take place Thursday, April 25th, affecting mill redevelopment. And this is based clearly on, I think, when the original zoning regulations were written for housing in some of these mills, that our old mills were 9-inch posts on center, and the way that they were written, there's not a real efficient way of using some of the spaces, so they're adjusting some of the room sizes. Parking Advisory Committee, which I sit on, the goals of the advisory committee were to tackle phase 1 regarding downtown parking and the ability to enforce the policies adopted by the Special Services District. Phase 2 goals will be discussed in the future with a focus on traffic pattern changes and safety. Special Services District unanimously adopted the recommendations of the committee and will post a legal notice notifying the public of enforcement date, as well as promoting community education for all the updates on the new parking regulations. Also, I have copies for you tonight. These are just the final draft copies of the New Putnam Guide. The New Putnam Guide we publish. I stapled this on the wrong side. Sorry?
Give me upside down.
Yeah. That New Putnam Guide is pretty much a promotion piece for Putnam. It includes everything from some of our businesses in the area, our downtown area, our industrial park, and there is absolutely no cost to the town of Putnam. It's all done through advertising, and I think we have something like 75,000 copies printed. And we put them in tourism areas. We put them wherever we can get them out to other parts of Connecticut. Still awaiting notification on EPA Brownfields Coalition for Mill Redevelopment, and we're supposed to hear about the OPM Main Street Investment Fund in April, but I haven't heard any more on that. Ongoing projects, the Northeast Connecticut Cultural Alliance, and that is on the agenda tonight, so I will speak in length at that when the agenda item comes up. First Fridays, Putnam Business Association Community Garden is kicking off its first full growing season. We are looking for families and businesses to adopt a garden. I know that Doug is bringing it up to the town hall staff to adopt a garden, so if you know of any families who are interested, let us know, and also the Health Quest. Any questions?
Very good on
Yes.
Just to make sure I'm not being overly optimistic here, am I understanding correctly that we are going to be running both Wholesome Wave programs this year, both prescriptions and the double value coupons? So we'll be getting to serve 3 completely different populations?
I wouldn't say 3 populations. Through the fruits and vegetables program, that's an opportunity for the pediatricians at Dakin Healthcare and Generations to give a prescription to families and children of eating more fresh vegetables, and they will get like a coupon to purchase these at the farmer's market.
Right, but they're not, they could be people who have aged out of WIC. So we're going to be getting the senior coupons, the WIC coupons, and then focusing on kids' health and costs.
Yep.
Delphi, just quick on the industrial park. I drove through the other day. It was wonderful to see Mr. Fournier's lot being cleared. What about the Zello lot?
Actually, I had a meeting with town council last week, and the commission voted to take some initiatives to move that project forward. The town has granted them a licensing agreement that is up on June 30th of this year. And this is their third licensing agreement.
Barney, I think Barney had a question.
A couple things on that municipal brownfield program. How long before the samples come back from the testing of hazardous materials?
It's been 3 weeks, and I honestly don't know how long it takes.
Okay. Now, could you just advise us, it's going to affect the cost, whatever type of materials show up in the cost of removal. I would assume it's going to go into the program grant itself, right? That there was a lot of cost to remove any hazardous material on the project?
This grant is a brownfields grant, so it was clearly for hazardous materials abatement and demolition. And in the demolition areas, for instance, because of PCPs in glazing compound that was around windows before 19, make up some, I really don't know, remember that date. But so in all of the windows that will definitely be remaining and not demoed, those samples had to be taken, and they take them randomly. But if you're demolishing certain areas, all of that becomes commingled, and it's taken away as a hazardous group and not individual hazardous materials.
Second thing on 88 Main Street facade project, did they give you a starting date now that it's been awarded, when construction's going to start?
The contract is signed. The next thing is scaffolding. I know that windows have been ordered, materials have been ordered, staging areas are being set up. So when you see that first
Staging
length
goes
of
up and
yeah,
over.
yeah. I don't give dates anymore.
On a polo property, it says that we're going to go out for RFQs for removing the hazardous material. Oh, the bid specs are going out for, okay.
Right.
I misread it. And on the agricultural grant, what's our in-kind services to the town? What do the town provide for in-kind services towards that grant?
Mostly my time for administering the grant. Everything else will be cash donations from the partners.
So easy it was tonight? No?
I'm sorry?
See how easy it was tonight?
Okay, Bonnie asked one of my questions, so we're off the hook on that. The payload property, legal access to the property?
Right, Mr. Palo has passed away,
Yes.
so there is a trust on that property, so we're just making sure that we have all the legal signatories in place before we access that
To do the
property.
removal?
I'm sorry?
For the removal and all of
In order to, for our contractors to even step on the property, we need legal
the...
access.
Okay. Now that, because I was a little concerned, I was confused. That is a town road running right down through the middle of that property.
Furnace Street?
Yes. Okay, so that is access to that property.
Yeah, that's access
Yeah, okay.
on the street, but to walk, to go into their
Permission,
property, into
okay.
the buildings, that kind of thing.
Okay. On the bids, don't the selectmen approve all bids, unless this is something different?
On the,
As far as the bids being awarded for the 88, don't the selectmen do the approval of bids? No, not in this case, no.
We, yeah, for the bid specs that I have done in the past, I've done them. I don't think it's ever come up.
Oh, yeah, just a question, because I wasn't sure. Because I see we get bids in all the time. We do the highway department bids and rentals and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't know.
But
Separately.
John, we don't award them. I think what we do with that is we just officially open them and read what they are. Who the bid goes to is passed on to the relevant department. If my memory serves.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. I give you an A on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Any other questions? That's it?
Thank you, Delphine. Item 9 is building officials CEO report. In your packet, you have a list of work that Lee has taken care of. If you have questions regarding any of the projects that are ongoing, if you let myself know or Lee know, I'm sure he'd be happy to explain them further.
Just one question, does Daytonville Hospital have to pay for a building permit?
Yes.
I believe...
Yes, that's
yes.
what I thought. Okay, I just wanted to check that, thank you.
It's like 50,000 we just got in from those.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Item 10 is town administrator's report.
Regarding the Board of Finance, I attended a special meeting in Board of Finance where they reviewed the FY 13-14 budget proposal before presenting it to public hearing, which is tomorrow night?
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night. And at their request, I presented various capital project finance scenarios using borrowing from the Ash Landfill Fund. WPCA attended a monthly meeting of the authority and worked with engineering consultants on preparing applications for USDA for the manganese treatment, new manganese treatment facility at the well fields, and also rehabilitating and upgrading the system to 10 sewer lift stations. The total for those two applications will be between $4 million and $6 million. Right now, the USDA has available in the vicinity of $4 million, so they might not be able to fund both projects at this time. I'm sorry, I'm off a week on when I said the applications would be filed, but they were either going to be filed late last week or early this week, and it's probably on schedule that I'll be able to get those applications in tomorrow. And because we are under either a consent order or we have other types of reports that are required to be filed quarterly, I work with our engineering firms to ensure that those are filed in a timely fashion for the quarter ending March 31st. And so, as I stated, they are reports including compliance with Little River consent order and well fields and sewer federal funding reports. Payload property, as Delpha mentioned, there's a lot moving forward on the payload property, and I was happy to sit in with her on a conference call with Deep Staff to discuss the process using the state funding allocation. The Economic Development Redevelopment Agency, I do attend their monthly meetings and do report on ongoing projects, including the Tech Park and the bridge and WPCA projects. The special town meeting on the high school project, I attended the meeting and in preparation for the meeting ensured that all necessary documentation was prepared and available at the meeting. Because we have certain requirements that should this pass at referendum, there are certain bonding requirements that have to be met to make sure all the paperwork is followed and all the necessary processes are in place to ensure that we can go forward with the bonding. And Superintendent Hull and I are working with Senator Williams' office to try to obtain a state reimbursement rate for the Medical Pathways PALS component of the high school project. To date, the way it was configured is that it was not expected that they were not expecting to have any state reimbursement on that portion of the project. So we're hoping that if we are able to work something out, either through a legislative option or through a regulatory option, that we would be able to get some of that portion of the high school project reimbursed at a certain level. Charter Revision Study Committee, they're scheduled and prepared an agenda for the first meeting of the Revision Study Committee. And again, I don't know why I was off the week, but it's to be held tomorrow, Tuesday, April 16th. And finally, prescription drug disposal lockbox. I placed an order to obtain a permanent drug disposal lockbox that will be installed at the police department and available for drug drop-off by citizens throughout the year. And hopefully this lockbox will be in place for our spring prescription drug drop-off day, which is Saturday, April 27th from 10 to 2 at the Farmers Market. And funding for the lockbox was provided through the CASA, our local prevention council agency. And that's what I have for you.
Thank you, Doug. Questions of Doug, please.
Yes, Doug, hey Doug, on the magnesium upgrade for the wells, is that going to affect our compliance with the consent order from drawing off Little River?
Excuse me?
Starting up the new well fields?
They will not be impacted by it.
Okay, so
this
we don't have to worry
is
about
standalone.
magnesium.
We're able to move forward. The consent order diversion permits and the diversion permits for the well fields are going to be reviewed in the absence of manganese treatment.
But
So-
will that affect the amount of water we're going to have to draw
No,
out on this?
no.
Okay. Second question, meeting tomorrow night, what, 6:30, Doug?
Excuse me?
The charter?
6:30.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions of Doug? Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Unfinished, item 11, unfinished business, Cronenberg Regional Technology Park and Bridge. Doug, any updates in that
Nothing new to
regard?
report. We're just awaiting the review of the environmental impact evaluation. That's going to be completed on April 22nd. And once we find out how much input they receive during that process, we'll know how long it will be in terms of them being able to issue what they call a record of decision based on the environmental impact evaluation. And then that would be submitted to the Office of Policy Management for a final decision.
What are we looking at, Doug, for construction in regards to the impact study goes to 22nd, and then we have to send it up to DEP or what?
No, right now the agency that's wording the what they call the SEPA requirement, the Connecticut Environmental Policy Act requirements, that the environmental impact evaluation is a component of that. That's being handled by the Department of Economic and Community Development. They farm this out to all the relevant state agencies, whether it's the State Historic Preservation Officer, whether it's DEP, whether it's DOT, and then they get and the Department of Public Health, they get the feedback, they get it incorporated into the final document after April 22nd when the comment period closes. They put that in terms of the final environmental impact evaluation. They, on the basis of the final environmental impact evaluation, they draft a record of decision, and the record of decision, the draft record of decision with environmental impact evaluation then goes to OPM for review. Hopefully we'll have that review done by either the end of May or early June. And if we get a positive record of decision from the Office of Policy Management, then it allows the town and the YMCA to be able to go forward with their projects which involve the expenditure of state funding. So we could be looking at going out to bid, at least on the town project, by this sometime this summer. Because the design is all done on it.
I know that the bridge, right? We could go out to bid this month for the bridge.
Not this month,
This
sometime
summer.
early this summer. Or, I'm sorry, mid this summer.
Okay. So basically, don't look like construction's going to start on that bridge unless we can get the bids out midsummer. Do you think that construction will start in this fiscal year, meaning December 31st, 2013?
I believe if we get the bids out and by the end of the summer and we get a notice to proceed, we'd be looking at least some startup involvement, not too much actual construction, but maybe just some mobilization and the ability to get on the site to do clearing and some removal of gravel and that type of thing.
Preliminary work.
Preliminary work.
And one more question. Does it have to go before public review, like the bridge on 44, this bridge, for public review at the beginning?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're going to go to our town meeting this evening, and I would need a motion to adjourn our Board of Selectmen's meeting to do that town meeting. Would I have a motion?
So moved.
Would I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Town of Putnam anti-blight ordinance will be brought forward this evening. I would, Sarah's here. Didn't see you earlier, Sarah. You were very quiet this evening. Oh, Sarah. There, it's warm.
Yes. Town of Putnam knows a special town meeting, April 15, 2013. The electors and citizens qualified to vote in the town meeting of the town of Putnam, Connecticut are hereby notified and warned that a town meeting of said town will be held at Putnam Middle School Auditorium, 35 Wicker Street, Putnam, Connecticut, on Monday, April 15, 2013, at 7:30 in the evening for the following purposes. 1, to choose a moderator for said meeting. 2, to determine the wishes of those present and eligible to vote at town meeting of the town of Putnam upon proposed ordinance to combat blight and provide certain property maintenance standards. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file in the office of the mayor and available for public inspection during normal business hours. Dated Putnam, Connecticut, this first day of April 2013. Town of Putnam, Richard C. Place Mayor, Renee Lasco, Rich J. Loomis, Alma D. Maury, Norman Sinay, John Smith Jr., Owen A. Carr, its Board of Selectmen, attest Sarah J. Sinay, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Sarah. First order of business is to select a moderator for this town meeting. Would I have a motion on the floor?
I nominate William St. Ange.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to nominate William St. Ange as moderator. Do I have a motion to close nominations?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close nominations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. All those in favor of William St. Ange being moderator this evening, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. William?
Bill, I know you don't need a mic.
I think you can keep your place, Peter. Can you all hear me out there? First order of business is to entertain a motion on the proposed anti-blight ordinance. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sinay, is there a second? Second. Second by the board.
Mr. Tar.
The motion is now open for discussion. I don't want to cut anybody off, but I don't want to sit here like a big dummy either. If I hear no request for discussion, I will call the vote. Hearing none. All those in favor of the ordinance, usual sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A
All
motion
those in
and a second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. St. Ange. I would entertain a motion to go back into our regular Board of Selectmen's meeting at 7:34 p.m.
Second.
Motion, second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay. Item 11B, Delpha, I believe this is you again. Northeast Cultural Alliance status. If you would, please.
I know recently there's been a few questions on this, so let me just give you some historical perspective. Approximately 4 years ago, the State of Connecticut Commission on Culture and Tourism approached the town of Putnam through a convened meeting, and it was actually at the last Green Valley when they were on Providence Street. And it seemed that Northeast Connecticut was the only sector of the state of Connecticut that did not have a local arts agency. They call it an LAA. So of all the 20 people that were around the table to spearhead this movement, pretty much nobody really wanted to take it on. And I clearly saw it as an opportunity for economic development in Putnam and in the surrounding area. This is about putting the creative workforce to work. And this does not include just visual artists. This includes graphic artists. This includes theater, authors, historical, heritage, tourism, and certainly Putnam is a destination and a tourism area. So we applied for 2 consecutive grants, and that was pretty much for the strategic planning. It was a matching, both were matching grants, and we received unanimous matching funds from NECOG, the Northeast Connecticut Council of Governments, because the selectmen there unanimously saw this as also as spearheading economic development in our region. This is a regional approach, and what the spirit of this creation of an LAA was to do, it was pretty much to celebrate the arts, convene people who wanted to learn more about the arts, to connect people to the arts and those kind of things. We had a mission statement, goals in place. After these two grants were procured, we went on to the third stage, which was a $30,000 grant with a matching component that we had to come up with, and it could be in-kind donations. And this was to be sanctioned as a regional service agency for the arts. We received this grant at the beginning of 2013. We hired, the next stages of this were to procure some kind of a fiscal agent. Putnam has always been the fiscal agent of all three grants. We kept it there, and from there, in this third part of the grant, you have to go form an 501c3 to become a nonprofit, or you have to get some kind of a fiscal agent. Other parts of Connecticut, they use their Chamber of Commerce as the fiscal agent. We had convened 3 meetings with our Northeast Chamber, but they didn't want to take us on in the mid-year. So we got the Community Foundation to fund this project as the fiscal agent till we could procure the 501c3. Meanwhile, the end of 2013, the state had changed its department of the Connecticut Commission on Culture and Tourism to Office of the Arts. Office of the Arts re-regionalized all 15 LAAs in the state to become, I think it's 7. So the Northeast Connecticut, we were at the end of this grant round, and they told us that we were being absorbed by Wyndham Arts because Wyndham Arts already had their 501c3 in place. So we went from our 12-town area to a 24-town area. So what we have to do is submit our final report, expend the monies that we have matching grants for. We can expend any of this budget ended on December 31st, 2012, and we can only expend any funds that we matched. We can only use our match after December 31st, 2012. So we are in the middle now of, we're at the end of doing the final report. We filed final report online, and that's basically the history of it.
Did anybody have questions about it?
When you said that the grant was, I saw something in the audit where it said that there was, I think, 36,000. Was
30,000.
30,000. Okay. Now, is that going to be all turned over to Wyndham now, or what's left of it?
No, we have to send that back to the state. They do whatever they do. We could only expend what we matched.
And the two matching things you said, NECOG, and who else matched?
NECOG matched both the first grant round and the second grant round.
And how much was it for it?
I think there was a total of 6,000 for each grant, and they matched 35% of those. Those 2 grants have already been closed out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dr., I had asked for some information from Doug a couple of weeks ago at our last meeting. Is there any chance you could put that together for me? I'd like to write just...
We can give you the whole final report that we send to the state.
Okay, what was spent, what it was spent on,
Sure.
and balance that's going back. Now, the matching fund, you could spend out of that grant whatever you matched, right?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
But after December 31st, we cannot spend any of the state's money. We can only spend what we match.
Before that date.
That's correct.
So you can use it at a future date, but you didn't have to use it
Yeah,
before that date.
but we really can't. We shouldn't, because we're no longer accountable for that funding. That's Wyndham Arts' job now. So we have pretty much, because we started a state-of-the-art website to connect pretty much all of New England, if you wanted to. It's one of the most progressive, interactive websites that has ever been done. Shoreline Arts Alliance has something like this, but we could do even more. And they spent something like 22,000. We got a bid for, I think, 8,400 to do it.
And you're still going to go forward with that?
No.
No.
Not through the alliance, because we can't mirror what the arts mission is to be supported by the state.
Right.
We have a very progressive Putnam Arts Council in town now that I think I asked the Board of Selectmen maybe 3 years ago to implement. You have all increased the membership of that, so, yeah. And
Right.
the one thing that we want to make sure of is that we are, because we devised the membership program, because it's about sustainability. So we have had conversations with Wyndham Arts that whatever they gave to us as funds to be part of this membership program, that they're going to get the same thing through Wyndham Arts. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Item 12, new business. A is the consideration or approval for a temporary pistol permit for Matthew Ford. Matthew, are you here?
So moved.
In your packet, you have the information. I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Do I have a second? John is a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Item B is consideration for approval of temporary pistol permit for Lynn Ford. Lynn, you're here, I guess, right there. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second by Mr. Tar. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Item C is consideration for approval of a temporary pistol permit for John Barnes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Is John here?
He's right there.
Hey, John, how are you? A motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Item D is consideration for approval of a temporary pistol permit for Chad Sessoms. Chad, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Consideration of approval for a temporary pistol permit for Camille Strong.
So
Camille,
moved.
are you here?
Second.
Right there.
Oh, there. Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Yes, and we do have one more.
Two.
I'm sorry, two more. We have consideration for approval for a temporary pistol permit for Mr. Michael Newman, 93 Heritage Road, Putnam, Connecticut, that was added to our agenda this evening.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Tar. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We also have consideration for approval for a temporary pistol permit for Shayna Newman. What would be your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
Paperwork will be ready tomorrow morning. Sorry about that.
Very much.
Item F on our agenda is consideration and approval for historic preservation grant resolution. Doug, could you give us the rundown on that, please?
This is an annual grant that comes through the state library, and so we use it in terms of preservation of our records through the town clerk's office. It's been very helpful to us in terms of getting that accomplished. So it's a good program. So I recommend its approval.
Would there be a motion on the floor this evening to approve the historic preservation grant for the library? So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those.
I think it's a great grant because what it does is protect our records, and I think it's a great grant. Plus,
Thank you, sir. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Item G is consideration for approval of a certified resolution from viability grant.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Item H is approval of all bills. What would be your pleasure?
Make a motion we pay all approved bills.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, so carried. All other business to lawfully come before such meeting.
I would like to discuss, I know the board's been aware that I've been in discussion with Bill and this board in regards to that truck purchase. I would like a motion, I'm going to put a motion on the floor that the Board of Selectmen conduct an investigation into this under the Charter, Chapter 4, Section 7, page 21, where it says the Board of Selectmen shall have the power to investigate any and all offices of the agencies of the town, and for such purpose shall have the power to call witnesses to appear before the board to testify in any matter under investigation. Any officer or employee of the town who, upon receipt of adequate notice, fails to appear or refuses to testify, and so called by the board, shall be deemed to resign therein from said office or position. The reason I question that is, on the Charter, Chapter 7, Section 8, G, every payment made in violation of the provisions of this charter shall be deemed illegal, and every officer, official, authorizing or making such payment or taking part therein, and every person receiving such payment or any part thereof shall be jointly and severely liable to the town for the full amount so paid or received. If any officer or employee of the municipality shall knowingly incur any obligation or shall authorize or make any expenditures in violations of the provisions of this charter or take any part therein, such actions shall be cause for removal. The reason I say that is that we're putting a DPW director in a spot. He says one thing, and the previous mayor has never responded to any of the questions in regards to this matter, and I felt that this board, we're having a charter revision tomorrow night, and we can't even follow the charter. A $150,000 item was ordered prior to any approval by any board. That's a violation of the charter. So the board has the obligation to investigate this fully. All that's been approved is the money has been approved, and through Bill's letters and finance board and everything else. But the bottom line here is nobody has been held responsible for this matter. And I felt that at this point, seeing that everybody else passes the buck, and as long as the money's there and everything else, it's fine. But somebody has to be responsible, and nobody has stepped to the plate yet. That's why I asked for a motion. Thank you.
I want to second that motion.
A motion and a second. Would there be further discussion?
I also think we should investigate this. I don't know. Have we ever, as a Board of Selectmen, ever investigated anything in this town that's going on? Is anybody aware of any investigation?
Not in my recent memory, John.
Okay.
But I would say that I believe that town council was brought in, the Board of Finance was also brought in. I think there was some decisions made in regards to making sure that this doesn't occur again. So to say it wasn't addressed at all, I don't believe that that is true. I think it was addressed. Let it go from there.
I disagree with you. You said it was addressed. Well, it hasn't been addressed. Because if it was addressed, and if somebody was in private industry and bought a $150,000 piece of equipment, or whatever the case may be, and the boss didn't know about it, the purchasing agency didn't know about it, or anybody else didn't know about it, and all of a sudden a bill comes on the desk and you've got to pay it, I think that person would be looking for another job. I think that this board still hasn't got to the bottom of it. I know the money has been transferred. I know the money was there. That is not the point I'm trying to prove. The point I'm trying to prove is nobody's been held responsible for it. Nobody came forward to protect the DPW director. He's holding the bag. As far as I'm concerned, the charter takes precedent over, no matter what a lawyer says about transferring money. That's fine. But the truck was ordered without permission of the board, period. That's a violation of this charter, and that's what I have a problem with. That's all I'm saying.
And I also remember, didn't Mr. St. Arch, when he was speaking with us, was unaware that it was 2 budget years that money came from? It wasn't taken out of the first budget year, it was taken out of the following budget year, which you're really not supposed to do, transfer the funds over, and he sat there and said he was not given all the information right at that meeting. So I don't know what was settled there.
It's not
Oh,
here.
I got another letter stating that now it's all right, but
Why is it all right now?
I don't know. If you can read the letter, I'll make a letter to the people,
I
but
have
that.
a question.
Yes.
You have a motion and a second. What would be your pleasure? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have 3 ayes. Is that correct, John?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Mr. Loomis?
Yes.
All those opposed? Based on that, so carried. Would there be any other, well, I'm sorry, abstentions? Very good. All other business to lawfully become before such meeting, would there be anything further?
Pete, I have one quick thing. I was
Sure.
just going through Norm Perrin, the fire marshal's report, and it looks like he has been out to PSA, Putnam Science Academy, at least 12 times. Are we getting compensated? I'm assuming that is pulling fire alarms?
I believe, Dick, that there's a penalty involved with him going out there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing before I go to public comment was just thinking here that something happened in Boston this afternoon that affected a lot of people, and I just ask that you maybe take a moment to pray for the people that were killed and the people that were injured. I appreciate that. Item 13 is public comment. Would there be public comment this evening?
Good evening. Dan Luce here, 145 Woodstock Avenue. Hope everybody had a nice winter, because we're back.
Yeah, you did.
I have a concern about the poles at the parking lot over on Bowl Street. My concern is that there's possibly creosote, and wondering if they're going to be removed and when.
Did you put him there?
Dan, are those the poles that are on the ground?
Those are the telephone poles that are on the ground, yes. My mom's having a little problem because she's getting older. Parking her car, and she's actually hit them a couple times, so. I mean, if they were out of the way, it would definitely leave her more room. This past winter, when they plowed, literally buried her in. So, you know, it's not an easy situation for her to be in. Also, it's town property that the town doesn't have access to. Again, the property owner that abuts it still thinks it's his. Obviously, because there are no trespassing signs and private property signs. If you're facing his property to the right of it, there is a private property sign, which is probably right on the boundary, which also brings up another concern that I have, is if you look at where he's put his fence from the house, it runs from it'd be the northeast corner of the house, running east toward the parking lot. I'm under the impression that he probably owns about 4 feet. The fence is probably running 6 or 8 feet, and then juts back toward the property line. So again, the fence isn't on the line. It kind of juts off the house and then cuts back to the property line in the back. So again, he's taking advantage of town property.
I'll talk to Jerry Hosley, Public Works Director, tomorrow to see if he has any plans to move those poles down. I could do that.
Okay.
And we'll investigate the other issues that you brought up this evening.
All righty.
May I
Yes.
ask him a question?
Sure.
Is your concern more that the poles are there at all as a
Well, that would
area,
be-
or just that they're not at the town's?
Well, probably both.
Okay.
I mean, they shouldn't be there because there's creosote on the poles. So it's a contamination issue, number one.
Who put the poles there?
I think Mr. Beausoleil did. I think Mr. Perry requested it. I think Mr. Beausoleil brought him in.
And I do know that now when they remove telephone poles, they are taken away and disposed of properly. They're
No longer
a
given
hazardous
away.
issue.
Yeah.
Northeast Utilities pays to get rid of those poles.
Okay.
So your concerns are, when they're upright, you get a little bit around the basin, but
Right.
laying down, you get the whole length.
The whole
of-
thing.
And if it's
And
on
there's
town property, I
probably-
think we should get them out of there.
You know, they need to be removed.
Yeah, but I think right now, that since that is the only actual barrier to prevent cars from keeping going forward into that fellow's house,
Well, it's not, I mean, let him put up a fence.
I think it's reasonable for the town to put some sort of stopping mechanism, the same way in a
I-
parking lot, you may have a little concrete.
I agree, okay, so then
Nose it.
it should be put right on the boundary line.
But we can, work on
Yeah.
moving them for now and then finding something safer to
Yeah,
replace
safer.
them with.
And like I said, I know the fence isn't right. If you go and look, it juts out. So he's probably got 20, 30 more feet of town property that he's claiming.
That's in the back of his house, Dan?
To the right of it.
To the right of it?
If you look at, if you're facing the house,
Yeah.
to the right, where
Same spot.
same spot, but it runs up, like I said, it'd be the northeast corner of the house. Where it should come out like 3 feet, I think it comes out like 6 or 8. So after the 3 or 4 feet, it's town property, and then shoots back toward the boundary line. If you stand in front and look at it,
Yeah.
you can see how it goes. It's just not right. It should be right on the line. And if I'm correct, it should be 1 foot on his property.
Right.
It should be 12 inches. So again,
So you can maintain both sides.
right.
I'd be happy to check it out, Dan, and give you an update at our next meeting.
Thank you. And Brother Mike said hello. He'll be back in May.
Thank you, sir.
No wonder where he was.
Well, Dan, would there be any further public comment this evening? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, so carried.